Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger? Is that who you're impersonating?
No.
Okay.
I told you. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Nassau County Board of County Commissioners meeting for June 3rd, 2024. We're going to start on time, our new time, 5 p.m. I see all the employees out there are smiling because of that. So I'm going to call this meeting to order, and please join me, please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation will be given by Mr. Irving Gilliard.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, Heavenly Father, we honor you, praise you, we give you all the honor, and give you all the glory. And we come before you, we're just asking that as we go through this agenda with the county commissioners, that you just lead and guide them in their decision-making, that it will be good for the residents of Nassau County. Just continue to bless and keep them and their support staff, our county manager's office, county attorney's office. And we just give a blessing to all of them for all of the hard work that they do, and just continue to keep them healthy and lead and guide them. Ask a blessing upon our first responders, that as they go through dangers seen and dangers not seen, that you just take care of them, continue to bless and keep them, and as well for our military to keep this country safe. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner McCullough?
Here.
Commissioner Gray?
Here.
Commissioner Farmer?
Here.
Commissioner Hutman?
Here.
Chair Martin?
Here. Mr. County Manager, do you have any expansions or deletions to the agenda?
None tonight, sir. Thank you.
Madam County Attorney.
I have none, thank you, sir.
Okay, tab A, presentations on the capital improvement plan update. Time limit is 15 minutes. Deputy County Manager / County Engineer Companion. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. This is your quarterly update for the capital improvement projects that are currently underway. On June 24th, I believe, the last Monday night meeting, we'll be going over the new CIP workbook draft, and I believe in a workshop format. But this is just an update on your current projects. It takes a large group to get the job done. You have your capital projects department, which has been in place for just a little over a year now with our hiring of Ray Alberry in 2023. That started that department off. But it truly takes a big chunk of your staff as far as the Public Works Department, Stormwater and Drainage, OMB, and of course procurement and Ms. Mays, the County Attorney's Office. We couldn't do it without them, so special thanks to everybody that's involved in getting these projects done. And of course to the board for making it all happen and providing us with the resources we need to execute. So we're working on roughly $178 million total in capital projects from transportation projects, parks projects, and facilities projects. The first section we're going to talk about is $118 million just in transportation and drainage. Recently completed projects include the County Road 108 safety improvements, where we resurfaced roughly 18, I think it's almost 18 miles, a little over 18 miles from Bay Road west of Hilliard all the way to US 17. That project is completed, and I believe on your agenda tonight there is a final retainage payment to that contractor, since all the paperwork and project was done in November, but it takes a long time to close it out and make sure everything gets to DOT so the grants can get reimbursed to county for the funding for the things that we've paid out. The Amelia Island Parkway Trail, first phase from South Fletcher to Villa Del Rey, was also recently completed. And again, we're working through the closeout process for that project. All right. Spring Lake Estates is currently under construction. Now, this is a neighborhood that was constructed sometime in the 90s. And when it was constructed, the work there was not really completed by the developer at the time in accordance with their permitting. And the roadways and all the drainage facilities were dedicated to the county to take over. That was before your 2005 ordinance that required developers to dedicate the roads to the public but maintain them themselves. And so we've had to go back and fix the errors that were done some decades ago. And that project's about 60% complete, and so far seems to be doing a lot of good work out there. What the residents were experiencing were roads being overtopped by just normal storm, 3 o'clock on Thursday storm, not just, big storm events, but they would see the roads get overtopped in some areas. And it wasn't because, this area was particularly plagued by anything other than the fact that the drainage facility just wasn't installed correctly and it wasn't flowing properly. You'll see two items tonight on your agenda in the consent section, items K and I. Both of those have to do with the Pages Dairy and Chester Road intersection improvement project. This is that intersection improvement where we'll signalize the intersection and continue the four laning of Chester Road just north of Pages Dairy, where it'll pick up with the ENCPA's project to four lane up to Heron Isles Parkway and install that new roundabout. So this project, what you'll see in item K, is the construction contract with Reeves Construction to kick that project off, and item I with CSIGO to be our CEI firm out in the field watching for the county.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely, sir.
Prior to the meeting, after I reviewed my agenda, I met with the Assistant County Manager, and I let him what items that I was going to pull from the consent to go under new business.
Yes, sir.
And K and I were two of them because of the dollar amount.
Agreed.
But if you and/or the Assistant County Manager could elaborate on that now, then I will not, and for the clerk, I will not pull them.
Absolutely. So the Reeves Construction contract, item K, I believe is somewhere in the $7 million range. I could be mistaken.
That's why I was going to pull it.
Absolutely. It's a big number.
Yeah, and for the general public that hasn't heard me say that before, it's because I don't believe that we should be voting on things that are that big ticket type number without it being discussed.
Okay.
So,
Yes, sir. And item I similarly is that CEI contract with CSIGO and is, I don't remember the number.
$541,276.
Thank you, sir. So those two are directly tied to this project. And this one's a long time coming. You can see the red on the screen here. We had a lot of things to work through from permitting, wetland mitigation concerns, no credits available in the basins, railroad contracts and agreements, all those things that had to come together to make it possible. But I'm actually really excited we're finally at the point where we're executing the contracts for this project to actually start.
And these have been planned for a long time.
Long time.
And I see they're budgeted for and we're on budget.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that for both K and I?
Yes,
On
sir.
budget? Okay. I'm good.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right. Similarly, William Burgess Boulevard Extension, while not coming before you tonight, will be coming in a board meeting very soon, probably within the next 2 or 3 board meetings. You'll see this come across your desk. It's just making it through its final steps in the in-house or staff approval levels before it comes to you all. William Burgess Extension, again, is that connection from US 17 over to Minor Road near Yulee Middle and Yulee High Schools. And again, a trail included in that project, landscaping, all the things that are coming along with it. Again, really close to getting that one in front of you all to execute the contracts for construction. We already know who the contractors should be based on the procurement process and who the CEI should be. So it's just a matter of time before it comes before you all. Henry Smith Road, also very close to coming before you all. This is resurfacing and drainage improvements along Henry Smith Road. This one is one that we had to work with DEP for quite some time in permitting, and those DEP regulations alone, we could go and talk all day about how that process between transferring what's called the 404 permitting from the Army Corps of Engineers to DEP. You've probably seen it in the newspapers about that argument still going on between the state and federal level. But that has caused a lot of projects, not just on the government side, but across the board in the private sector to be delayed, in some cases months to even year. And in our case, it was almost nearly a year. we got really close to the end to where we had a permit, and they don't just say, well, you're this far along, so we're just gonna pick up where they left off. Well, they have to get up to speed with it again. It's almost like going through the process again when they change hands. So it can be kind of frustrating on our end. But this one, again, is through all that, really close to having that in front of you within the next couple meetings to get that project started as well. County Road 121 safety improvements. This first phase is from the Duval County line to County Road 119. We have Kimley Horn working on the project to design. It's all but complete. Basically, the roadway plans are nearly done. While they were doing the investigations, they noticed there were basically 3 cross drains, large. Some of them are even considered bridges by FDOT standards. But that's anything where there's multiple culvert pipes that cross under the road. And what we noticed were 3 of those had been extended in the past and not done maybe in the best manner decades ago. So for us to go in and need to widen those structures now, we need to do it right. So we're having to replace 3 of those structures completely. And that required additional survey work and additional geotech. So we're now looking at roughly October for the bidding out the project. We've expressed this to the residents and through emails and updates to let them know where we're at with the project. But this is all we're waiting on now. And I believe one of the items that you see in your packet tonight, and maybe it's for the change order for 121. It's in the consent package as well. That gets that survey and geotech work that we need to get the cross drains, additional information for the cross drains in place. L. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry I didn't bring my agenda up here with me.
That's right.
All right. Any questions on the transportation or drainage projects? If not, I can move into the public works projects or facilities projects. Probably the big story in public works and facilities are the fire station projects we have going on right now. We have 3 fire stations under construction. 2 that are county-led, which is Fire Station 70 off of Old Nassauville Road and Fire Station 90, which is off of County Road 2 on the far west side of the county. The fire station along Edwards Road being constructed as a part of the requirements for tributary is under construction as well. And you have a 4th one starting design here in the next few months, which will be on the land that was a requirement as a part of the ENCPA's PDP 3, I believe, PDP 2 maybe. So right there where you see the new emergency signal that was constructed on State Road 200 just west of 17, that is an emergency signal if you guys get any questions about that. In the future, it may convert to a full signal, but as of right now, the plan is just for that to be an emergency signal for that fire station's operations in the future. So, big story, bunch of fire stations going in to get our guys out there on the fire rescue side, all the stuff that they need to do their job and execute their duties. And lastly, Fire Station 20, quarters edition. Crew quarters edition, excuse me. That one is working through right now through the work authorization process to get that design started for those crew quarters expansion, and that's Fire Station 20, I believe, south end of the island that serves that area. Did have one more facilities project to talk about, the old Nassau County Detention Center decommission along State Road 200 next to UF Health. You've probably driven by there and seen it's pretty close to coming completely down. It's a multi-phase project. This is just phase 2 of 4. The next phase you'll see is some preparing of the ground there and then eventually getting it ready for more of a greenfield site with the trails and things in the front and preparing it for whatever its next use is. All right, parks and recreation projects, about $32 million, just under $32 million worth of parks, and a lot of that is the West Side Regional Park. So we'll talk about West Side Regional Park first. The project was bid out in March, and we did see some numbers that were pretty high, but we've determined that there's some areas there where we can work with the numbers, the quantities for some of the infrastructure stuff, like some of the paved areas. We may reduce some of those paved areas, but what we don't want to do is reduce the amenities that we've promised to the public. So that's our goal for West Side Regional Park. We're going back out to bid. We've made some modifications to the bid package that will allow us to do those negotiations with whoever is the successful bidder to adjust the quantities and give some options there that'll help us keep it closer to the budget. Goffinsville boat ramp improvements, and feel free to stop me if you have questions. I know I'm kind of flying through these, but I want to be respectful of the time frame that I'm given. Goffinsville boat ramp, this is, of course, off of Old Nassauville Road. Been in place for, I think it was constructed sometime about 10 to 15 years ago. And ever since, the boat ramp has had, folks using that boat ramp have had some struggles with the currents that occur at that boat ramp. So what we're trying to do is address those issues. And we had a study done some years ago that proposed some high-level solutions, but didn't go into details with the design. We are now working on those details as how to address that. In the interim, about 9 months ago, we noticed there was some settling in the ramp that we want to address as well. So we've added that to the scope as a part of that design project to reconstruct the ramp to address that settling issue and to mitigate the current issues that the folks are experiencing out there. So this project is a little bit behind schedule here, but I think we finally are moving in the right direction to get this one to the finish line. All right, one more to talk about. Yulee Sports Complex expansion and practice fields. So as we all know, Yulee Sports Complex is pretty busy. It's at capacity here. There's two things going on here. As a part of the NCPA's requirements, they were required to donate roughly 500 some odd acres of parklands. The first 87 acres of those 500 are supposed to come sometime here in the next month or so. And that is what you see kind of, I don't know if you see my cursor here, but this whole area here is that 87 acres. And the first step that the county has planned is what's in red here, which is to provide some additional practice fields, lighting, and parking for that park, for that Yulee Park. What you'll see also in white here is a parcel that we've been negotiating with the owner, and I believe we're really close to also closing on that one as well to acquire that land to help us. It's a privately owned parcel that's kind of in the middle of the park and is a strategic part of that overall plan for the regional park when we transition to that point. But both of these are really exciting, and I think we can do a lot of provide a lot of capacity with just these two parks and this number that you see here. So we're really hitting this one pretty quick. So before, I guess I move on to the chip seal and pavement management side, just want to say all the other projects again that we talked about in the strategic planning session, things that are getting added to the workbook, those are things we'll talk about on the workshop on June 24th. So recently completed, you'll see the stuff in red were things that were not originally planned in the pavement management program, but we were able to use the dollars and stretch and get those projects done ahead of time. And this is the list of roadways, roughly 17 and a half, apologize for the typo there, 17 and a half miles planned for this year on the pavement management side and 3.5 miles on the chip seal side. And that's for this year alone, and then you'll see the schedule as far as pricing, expected costs for the next 5 years. And with that, June 24th, and answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Companion?
Thank you all very much.
County Manager, would you like to add anything?
I don't have anything to add other than it's a team effort, and there's a lot of people that are involved in bringing these to fruition. And I think that over the next 18 months, we're going to deliver some really big projects that have been long awaited. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Thank you, Mr. Companion.
Thank you.
Very good presentation.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Farmer?
If you don't mind, I'd just like to add to that and say, you get asked, all of us get asked all the time, what's the status of this? What's the status of that? And just like to add to what was just presented, that this is a very heavy lift that involves dozens of people, and there's so many different facets of these projects. You run into obstacles along the way, like he was talking about the culvert issue over on 121. You know, you go down and you look underneath there and you realize that, hey, you got two culverts butted up with some bricks that's been around it, and apparently that's just how they did it 35, 45, 50 years ago. We can't leave that there. You know, we've got to get that stuff out of there. It's a safety issue. So those are the things that we want the public to know, and we have to explain that to those, residents as we meet with them. But I say it jokingly, but it's the truth, that everything that we do in government runs at a snail's pace, but we're doing our best to put some sneakers on the snail. So I just want you guys to know that, this group has done a wonderful job of making these projects happen and come to fruition, and I thank everyone here in the room for that.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Farmer.
I just wanna
Commissioner
say-
Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll say kudos to our new CIP director. You see him back here in the back of the room, and all our staff that works real diligently hard, getting all these projects that we trying to move to the finish line. I reached out to Mr. Companion this morning. We West Side Regional Park, someone said to me, oh, we still got trees there. Well, we're trying to do everything, and you see those little colors up there, on time, on budget. We're trying to do everything, be responsible to the taxpayer. So hopefully, it's back out for bid again for West Side Regional Park. Within 90 days, maybe we can get some ground moved up. But we're trying to be responsible, and I want to thank the board, I want to thank the county management staff, Mr. Pope and Mr. Marshall. We're moving things forward in a prudent and efficient and effective manner in our staff, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Okay, so let's move on to consent items. If any board member wishes to move a consent item to new business, please do so now.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Gray.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'd like to move tab C, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
if I
Hutman.
may, I'd like to move tab G as in golf.
And I would like to move tab D. Okay. All right, so I'll entertain, does any member of the public want to speak on a consent item? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items with the exception of tabs C, D, and G.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Hupman. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So that will move us, hold on, that does not move us into new business yet. Hold on one second. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the American Beach Water and Sewer District.
A second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the American Beach Water and Sewer District. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are now convened as the American Beach Water and Sewer District. And under that, tab Q, approve and authorize the chairman to sign contract number CM 3694, a cost share agreement with the St. Johns River Water Management District and associated budget amendment documents for the construction of private sewer laterals and abandonment of existing septic tanks within the American Beach Water and Sewer District in the amount of $992,324. Assistant County Manager Ironman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So the American Beach project has been a long-going, great investment in the community. Overall, we've got about $12 million of state revolving funds, direct contributions from the county board. And where we're at now is as we're getting to the point of completing the project, you'll see other items on the agenda for pavement of other roads that weren't included as part of the water and sewer project. But this item is significant because it brings the connections to those private properties. So the St. John's River Water Management District has provided us a grant. We received the initial READY grant from them, and we've been working with them over a period of time to kind of refine the parameters. When we received the initial grant, the thought was that we were going to have 147 parcels that were going to participate in this. They had limited to $6,750.50 per parcel. We've gone through with the property owners to determine who would actually commit to connecting to the system. And so we have 101 individuals that have made their commitment to connect to the system to allow us to move forward with the grant. As we continue negotiations with St. John's, we received, through our contractor, U.S. Water, received 4 bids for the connection on those. Unfortunately, these bids were higher than anticipated. The market has shifted significantly, as we've seen in many things. With that, rather than going to the property owners and asking for them to contribute more, we went back to St. John's. We got them to increase that $6,750 up to $10,362, I believe, for the individual parcels. And for those parcels that were just abandoning a septic tank, the home may no longer be there. It's a lesser amount of $7,348. And so we've made significant efforts with St. John's. We appreciate their flexibility in providing those funds for the individual property owners. That allows us at this point in time, with the agreement you have in front of us, is the grant requires a minimum of 79 parcels to connect to the system. The funding is there through the grant. There will be some cost that may be cost sharing with those individual property owners. And I say that as the grant will provide certain things, but these are private improvements. And so if their cost is unique, they're going to have to participate in some of these. But before we move forward with any parcels, we're going to look at the individual cost for each one so they are aware of their commitment before anything is done. And so really, this kind of wraps us up. I mean, going from that next step, this is another $1,250,000 that the board has brought forward through grants and other contributions to really bring this to the final step. Connect the property owners to the system that's built, becomes part of the NAU utility, and they'll be serviced and maintained through that once all of this is hopefully done. So with that, I open it up to the board if there's any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Ironman?
If I may comment, thank you. Mr. Chairman, this came up this weekend at some other discussions in the community meeting down there. I thank Mr. Ironman for putting it on the record and giving them a thorough explanation of where we are. They've done a superb job with this project. Thank you.
Did I see you signaling me? County Manager Pope.
After the vote, I'd like to say a word.
Oh, okay. I'll entertain a motion on tab Q.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Hutman, and second by Commissioner Farmer to approve tab Q. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. County Manager.
I just want to take a moment to express appreciation to Amy Bell, Marshall Ironman, and the county attorney and their team. To say it was a lot of work to get this grant to the finish line is a gross understatement. To say that there was many conversations with the Water Management District and our contractors, again, would be a gross understatement. And so you have a tremendous amount of staff, dedicated staff time into bringing this to the head, and no one will probably recognize it other than those that watched the sausage get made. So I just want to publicly acknowledge their efforts for it.
I concur. Commissioner Farmer.
I was just gonna ask you guys out in the public, did you learn anything about the wastewater and how complex it can be dealing with DEP permits?
We did.
And it's quite the feat, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's quite the feat. I appreciate you guys as well. Being a wastewater guy, you know, it means a lot to me to help these guys, out in conversation and talk about what figures really should be and what they are and what they came in at and that sort of thing. So it's, thanks a lot to all of you guys for making this happen for the residents of American Beach.
Mr. Chairman, again, thanks for the Nickelback. I would like to recognize Mr. Gilliard also, who's here, for his leadership as a member of the board down there and getting the community leaders to help us deliver this, across the finish line as well. So thank you, Mr. Gilliard, personally for your efforts and your team. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, to adjourn as American Beach Water and Sewer District and convene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hutman, second by Commissioner Farmer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, before I go into new business, there was something in the consent items that I didn't pull, but I want to acknowledge a person on tab O. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Clifford Snell. He's a Florida certified general contractor, and we appointed him to fill a vacancy on the Construction Board of Adjustments and Appeal for a term going through May of 2026. So, when we do these consent items, sometimes we don't get to talk about all of them, and so I just want to acknowledge and appreciate Mr. Snell for volunteering to do that. Okay, so that will move us into new business. Tab C, approve the Federal Emergency Management Agency Port Security Grant application for a coastal fast response boat fire rescue vessel in the amount of $995,936. If awarded, Nassau County will have a required match in the amount of $331,978. Assistant County Manager Iron.
Mr. Chair, I apologize, but through the chair, I didn't know if you wanted to call for public comment on the new business items all at once or individually.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. All right. Is there anyone that would like to comment on items under new business? All right, so thank you very much for that point of order, as politely as you did it. So we will move on to tab C.
Perfect.
And I finished reading that already. So Assistant County Manager Ironman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is one of those great opportunities that we're seeking a grant. This is nearly $1 million grant that we're saving the taxpayers by getting this through the port security. So at this point, what we're doing is putting in the application. There's that 25% match. What we've seen over the past few years is an increase for fire rescue services to be available on the water, whether it's fires in boats, whether it's rescuing individuals on stand-up paddleboards out at the ocean. There are different events that have occurred that really require us to kind of step this up. This $1 million grant, we'd be providing the match through fire impact fees. So again, using those dollars that are coming in from new growth as we continue to grow and expand our fire delivery services. The application, if approved, will come back to you to accept the final grant award, and then the building of that boat process will take approximately 1 year. During that time period, as we move forward, the fire chief has been discussing with multiple entities, or will continue to discuss with those, potential locations for this boat. So where will it be stored? I know that the city of Fernandina Beach has supported us moving forward with this, as it can benefit both jurisdictions and all residents in the county. And so whether we're looking at the marina there, the marina under the 200 different condo organizations. So we're trying to find the best solution. And so while we work over this year-long period, we'll be basically coming back, looking at those spots and having conversations on where this can best meet the needs of those individuals. And for those that are boaters, making sure that it's in a location that provides proper response times for where we see the most need.
Thank you, Mr. Ironman. And one of the reasons that I pulled this and talked to Mr. Ironman about it before was that the Fernandina Beach City Commission, they had a similar grant request that they were going to try and get for their fire department for a boat. And so we can't talk to each other, but I can have a conversation with a city commissioner about things. And kudos to the city commission. They supported my request to support us in getting this grant for the county so that we can serve both the county at large and the city of Fernandina Beach. So we're not competing for the same money, and then possibly we both lose out on it. So kudos to the city commissioner of Fernandina Beach. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the reasons I pulled item C, tab C, was I had a conversation with county manager and assistant county manager prior to this meeting regarding this. This is I support this wholeheartedly. We're in a waterfront community, our county is. We have, the waterways are very, a lot of traffic. And $1 million grant is great if we get it. I'm hoping and praying we do. It's a huge need here for citizens of Nassau County. And in the future, we're going to have discussions on where this vessel needs to be placed. It's called a fast response vessel, and we need it in the water. So I'm just going ahead and bring the conversation up now, talk to Mr. Ironman before the meeting. We don't need it sitting on a trailer somewhere. I can give you some stories where people are being rescued on dinghies out on Nassau River, even at the ocean on the south end. Right now, we have our sheriff's agency has 2 boats stationed at the marina right there across the bridge, Middle Island. If you're a boater, like a lot of people are, towboats is also stationed in that area. So middle island, accessible in the water is some of the things I want the commission to think about over next year, where we're gonna put this boat. I don't want to see it sitting on a trailer. We really need it out there. So I think it's a huge step forward for our citizens in Nassau County to go after this grant. And, you know, we got to put a match to it. We have to work through it and get to the end. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Commissioner Farmer?
Yeah, response time, to add to piggyback on Commissioner Gray, response time is important is just as important on the water as it is on the highway. So, you know, I think that, you know, he makes a good point. We've got a really nice boat that we use and that they've been using and they've been training with. And you exceed expectations whenever you have to go out beyond the jetty rocks, say. And so whenever you go out beyond the jetty rocks and, you know, and you see 4, 5, 6 foot rollers, you know, it's real hard to go out there in something like a, you know, smaller, I wouldn't call it a dinghy, but, you know, I mean, it's more of like a Viking boat that you would use to tow behind a large vessel. So, you know, having something big like this, and it is a 39-foot boat, so, you know, a 39-foot boat's very, very capable of going way offshore. And it's got multiple engines. It's going to be a really, really nice vessel that, in my opinion, is well overdue. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve tab C.
I'd like to second that motion.
A motion from Commissioner Farmer, seconded by Commissioner Gray to approve tab C. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tab D, approve and authorize the chairman to accept the U.S. EPA Cooperative Agreement Grant Number 03D04624, contract number CM3687, and execute the associated budget amendment in the amount of $500,000. Assistant County Manager Ironman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Another great grant opportunity that we've received through the county. This one, we've been awarded the $500,000. There is a 0% match. So in this case, we're receiving the $500,000. This will mostly go towards capital equipment for a recycling center. One of the main things that we've had issues with in the past is the ability of our roll-off trucks. So by increasing the capacity on the recycling centers, bringing in new equipment, we'll be able to meet demands as we continue to see growth and more recycling occurring at our centers. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Ironman. Any questions for Mr. Ironman? And the reason that I wanted to see this item pulled was to get it out on the record that our staff is doing a great job trying to find money from all different sources of funding, and this is $500,000 with no match, So thank you for your hard work. All right, I'll entertain a motion for tab D.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Huffman, second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Tab G, approve and authorize the chairman to sign work authorization CM3359-WA04 with Hubbard Construction Company for American Beach paving in the amount of $136,197. Commissioner Huffman, you wanted to pull this?
I did, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to have a brief discussion again on the record, as the American Beach Water and Sewer District work continues, this is another part of the closing the project, but I wanted to iterate to the public down there, the pavement part doesn't come until all the work is done. But here it is on the screen so that you see it's being tracked well ahead of time. And Mr. Ironman, if I've taken any words out of your mouth there, but.
No, if I may,
Yeah,
through the
thanks.
chair. So the water and sewer project is nearing its completion. One of the things is they're going to be paving the roads as they complete with the undergrounding of the utilities. Right now, Mr. Companion, his team has been working with our consultants to make sure this is a coordinated effort. So as they pave the roads and move out, they're done with their project, we can come back. There are 7 road segments that this will fund, and so the question has been for some of those roads that weren't previously paved, they're not getting the undergrounding of the water and sewer. This will pave those last sections and again, provide another critical investment into that community.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. With that, I'd make a motion to approve tab G.
Second.
I have a motion to approve tab G from Commissioner Huffman and second by Commissioner Farmer. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That moves us into tab R, approve and authorize the chairman to sign the financial action form impact fee uses justification from the fire rescue D505 impact fees to purchase equipment for the tributary fire station rescue unit in the amount of $1,090.45. I'll entertain a motion to approve tab R.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner McCullough, seconded by Commissioner Huffman. We have any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tab S, consider and approve the agreement for traffic control on private roads between Northbrook of Nassau Homeowners Association Incorporated, Nassau County, and the Nassau County Sheriff's Office.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Gray?
a motion to approve tab S.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Huffman to approve tab S. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tab T, deny ratification of the real property purchase and sale agreement between Nassau County and Zoran and Jewel, I'm going to butcher this, Karazik, contract number CM 3685.
Motion to approve tab T, Mr. Martin.
Second motion.
Motion from Commissioner McCullough, seconded by Commissioner Huffman to approve tab T. Any discussion?
I think this one, you know, we're gonna
Commissioner
just,
McCullough.
I'll say it after the vote, Mr. Martin. I'll wait till we
Okay,
vote, Mr.
all right.
Martin.
Any other comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner McCullough.
I think this one, I know that I had received some calls on the community about this one, but the county is definitely, our team is relentlessly looking for opportunities where we can construct parks and recreation, or where we can grow, where we can facilitate the needs of each individual community. But I would definitely like to thank Mr. Companion, Mr. Pope, all of this whole team who, you know, they did their diligence when we looked at this property. We thought it was a great opportunity. I'll be the first one, I was like, Mr. Pope, look, we're finally doing something close to the river for my people. And, you know, we did the good faith, we did our homework. It was an extreme amount of wetlands and it just wasn't conducive for what we needed the property to work for us. So I thank you for constantly diligently working to help our citizens when you, like above and beyond always. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McCullough. Any other comments?
I'll just
Commissioner Farmer.
I'll piggyback on that and say I was extremely let down. I was extremely let down. We had some really lively conversations for about a week period there where we thought that we were really gonna pick up something that was gonna help the Kings Ferry boat ramp area. And when we did our diligence, we found out that 90+% of the lot was wetlands. So, you know, it just made it hard for us to be able to really do anything with it. But I was very let down. But hey, to Commissioner McCullough's point, thanks a lot, guys, for being on the cutting edge, because, you know, they made those calls right away and said, hey, look, we've located this. It's right near where we need to expand, but we've got to try to do something on it quickly. What do you think? So, you know, it just is just great to see our team working together to try and benefit the citizens we serve. So thank you so much.
Okay. So that will move us into general public comments. Comments can only be for items under the authority of the Board of County Commissioners. The time limit is 3 minutes. Public participation and rules of decorum. Public participation at board meetings is intended to allow members of the public to address the board on issues of public concern in Nassau County under the authority of the board. The chair is responsible for maintaining a respectful environment during public participation to ensure public comments can be heard by the board. All public participants wishing to address the board shall complete a speaker card and present the card to the deputy clerks in board chambers prior to the agenda item on which they wish to speak for forwarding to the chairperson. Only public participants who have submitted speaker cards and who have been recognized by the chairperson may address the board. Any speaker may present their viewpoint in this limited public forum without using terminology, disruptive behavior, or gestures that cause a disruptive environment for public officials in the discharge of their duties, or cause a disruptive environment hostile to the participation of other members of the public. Any person violating the rules of decorum as described in this section, or otherwise displaying disruptive behavior such as, but not limited to, shouting, noise-making, issuing threats, harassing or intimidating members of the board, the public, or county staff, interfering with the duties of elected or appointed officials and county staff during a public meeting, or otherwise interrupting or disrupting the proceedings may be removed from the public assembly pursuant to law. I have 2 speaker cards. First up is Ms. Jackie Osborne. Ms. Osborne, please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Jacqueline Osborne, Post Office Box 16796, Fernandina Beach, Florida. There's something up there. Oh, is it gone? Okay, thank you. Start my 3 minutes. Good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak. As you know, I'm here regarding the NCAS, Nassau County Animal Services. We have dogs in the shelter right now. We've got 87. We've got 65 that are in foster care, 45 cats in the shelter, and 147 cats are out in foster homes. Considering the number of kittens in foster care at this time, it's anticipated that the vast majority of these kittens will be returned to the shelter for spaying and neutering and ready for adoption. June sees a lot of exposure for the NCAS. June the 1st from 9 till 3, there was a health and safety expo. Additionally, that day, there was a West Side Market Railroad Department in Callahan sighting. June 8th and 9th, Walmart in Yulee from 10 to 3. The 15th, a vendor market behind Sonic from 4 to 7. June 22nd and 23rd, Amelia Native Wildflowers on Miller Road in Yulee from 10 to 5. And the Jacksonville Fairgrounds, June 28th and 29th from 10 to 6. I'd like to personally thank you all for being so attentive to the animal shelter and giving us the aid and the assistance we need to make a new animal shelter come into fruition. Thank you so very much. I'm good now. I'm less than half a minute.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Mr. Casey Jones. Please state your name and address for the record.
Casey Jones, Florida Sea Turtle Watch. Just want to say go Gators for the girls softball and Gator baseball team. So, so y'all know why I'm here. And of course, I want to start my time. But you know, I just didn't show up here and want to cause, issues or anything. I showed up here for a reason. First of all, I was told that I didn't have to do all this in the last 14, 15 months, that it was going to be done. Had a couple meetings with the board, with the code enforcement and the other people. It was a done deal. They knew how bad y'all's ordinance was. I think I forwarded y'all enough emails to know that I wasn't lying in that before y'all even took office, any of y'all. I don't even think Mr. Pope was just the secondhand guy. It was a whole previous thing. They knew how bad it was. They wanted to change it. Nobody wants to be the worst in the state of Florida. Here we are. My gosh, that was 2018. Here we are, and you still have the worst lighting ordinance. I've talked to y'all several times. Some of y'all I talked to for over an hour on the phone. There's only one person I don't talk to on the board, and I'm sure everybody in this room knows who it is. Y'all want to do the right thing. I think the vote's there. If somebody in administration, a lawyer, somebody would write up a thing, I think it'll pass. 4-1 at least, maybe 3-2, but it'll pass, So let's get it done. Nobody wants to be the worst, at anything, I don't think. It just takes one of y'all to suggest it and get it done. I don't know what the holdup is. I really don't. I talked to one person in particular, you know, why else did I come all of a sudden? I just showed up last year. I didn't, you know, I don't want to waste all this gas. I'm not doing it to, you know, get a name for myself. I already have a name. I've already made 2 of these. This will be the 3rd one. If somebody can be a big person and get it done, you know? So why did I show up? The Army Corps of Engineers pumped the sand back on the beach. It raised the element of the beach. You have beach homes that have the same back porch light out of all these years. Next thing you know, the beach, you know, when's the next Army Corps of Engineers beach restoration happening? So hundreds of baby sea turtles died in 2001, 2002. Ask Mary. She has to fill out the report. She came to this meeting and said, do something about the lighting ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
And nothing's been done. It's
you, Mr.
dumbfounding to me.
County manager's business.
I have nothing more tonight, sir. Thank you.
County attorney's business.
I have no business. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
County commissioner comments. We're going to start with Commissioner Farmer.
Oh, you are.
I try to rotate it.
Oh, hot seat, huh? Okay. Well, I tell you, didn't really have a whole lot of time to think about what I was gonna say, but I just like to say that we got a lot of business done today. There's a lot of information there that went out to the public I think is very valuable, and I think that our staff does an excellent job in providing more and more resources for the community that we serve. Got a lot of big events coming up on the horizon. I know there's a fire station groundbreaking over at Tributary coming up here in a few weeks. I think that'll be a great opportunity to show some collaboration between the local builder and his obligations and this board. So just like to say kudos to everybody involved. Thanks a lot. We're moving in a positive direction for the people we serve, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Farmer. Commissioner Huttman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had the pleasure of attending another American Beach Crossroads meeting this past Saturday down with the folks. I'd like to thank the staff, Elizabeth from planning and the folks from IT and tech that went out and supported that with our contractor. They're really kind of down to the final, looking for the final vision of the restoration of Evans Rendezvous. And I think that'll be an exciting project for them once we get in there and get it rolling. So we're getting close, sir. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you,
Thanks, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Huttman. Commissioner McCullough.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Martin. One thing is that, I don't know if y'all have seen, but in the town of Hilliard, once a month, we're doing like a food truck Friday. There's a cornhole board tournament. We had live music last Friday night, so I would invite y'all to come out. I know that there's a lot of events going on, and all of us are drawn completely thin, especially in the summer months. I feel like the calendar fills up so quickly, but I would definitely invite you, the public, everybody, to come out because it is such a great, amazing, it's just a different sense of community. And I always, anytime I can show off Hilliard, and Alicia Head's doing a wonderful job coordinating all of that. And so anytime y'all can come out to Hilliard, I think you'll really enjoy it. We had literally hundreds of people there Friday night with the cornhole tournament, with everything going on. So that, and we're still doing the vendor market one Saturday a month out there. So I always invite y'all to come out to Hilliard and come see what's going on out there.
Thank you, Commissioner McCullough.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very excited about that $330 million of CIP projects going on. I hate to keep harping on it, but our staff and county manager and assistant county manager, deputy county manager, and Miss Amy, I see you out there. All of y'all, I know y'all just really, y'all knocking it out of the ballpark. I tell you, I was so proud of that. Had an opportunity to attend one of our community leaders, our philanthropist. She's a leader of one of our nonprofits here called the Community Stewards of Yulee. She had a loss in her family. Her son passed. And today I was at the funeral and the service, and I expressed on behalf of the board our condolences as a whole. And I just keep her and her family in our prayers. You know, people like that work in our community and give back, they got a special place in my heart.
Do you want to mention her name?
Excuse me?
You didn't mention her name. Do you want to mention her
Oh,
name?
I'm sorry, yeah. Miss Judy Turner, I'm sorry. I get wrapped up in myself here, thank you. But Miss Turner is, she's always given back to the community. And, it was a large service attended by a lot of people, just to show their respects to her and the community stewards of Yulee as a whole. So y'all please keep that family in your prayers. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Okay, I've got some sad things to talk about and some good things, happy things to talk about. So might as well start off with the sad thing. Fernandina Beach Fire Department lost one of their own recently. Lieutenant James Tucker passed away. Is Chief Rigdon still? Chief, I don't mean to throw you under the bus or anything, but if there's anything you'd like to say, come on up to the podium. Or I can go ahead. I mean, I know he was a lieutenant with the Fernandina Beach Fire Department, married, I believe, a 4-year-old child. His funeral service is coming up soon. I don't have the date at the top of my head. He lived in Jacksonville, but he worked for us, for the city. And a great public servant. I think he had 13, 14 years with the fire service, and it's 42 years old. It's just sad. It's really just sad, So my condolences, and I express them on behalf of the board to Lieutenant Tucker's family and the Fernandina Beach Fire Department and the fire service in general. Sad, but a necessary thing that the sheriff does every year. The event's not sad. What's sad is that we have to have events like this, and that's the Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Day that Sheriff Leeper and the Nassau County Sheriff's Office put on out at the memorial out at the complex in Yulee. So that was very well attended. The sheriff and his team did a great job. County Fire Department was there, City Fire Department, NCSO, Fernandina Beach Fire Department, Chief, and I think the Highway Patrol was there, and FWC. I mean, it was a really good solemn event to recognize the law enforcement officers in Nassau County that have died in this, on the job in the service to us over the years. Then, of course, we had Memorial Day. I want to recognize, I attended the Memorial Day service in downtown Fernandina Beach at the War Memorial, and I want to recognize this was led this year by the Nassau Marine Corps League Everett Pope Detachment. They did an outstanding job, and if you haven't been to one of these Memorial Day services, and there's others held throughout the county, you just can't be at all of them. So I attended one in the town I live in. And if you haven't been to one of these, you really should go, especially if you have children or grandchildren, so that they can learn what this is all about. And, every Memorial Day, people say to me, well, Happy Memorial Day, Happy Memorial Day. Yeah, it's not Happy Memorial Day, okay? That's Veterans Day, Happy Veterans Day. Armed Forces Day, Happy Armed Forces Day. Memorial Day is a solemn remembrance of those that paid the ultimate sacrifice for us. So again, kudos to the Marine Corps League. I want to give kudos to Fernandina Beach Police Officer Brian Evat. He recently completed 10 years with the Fernandina Beach High School as their SRO, School Resource Officer. So they did a little ceremony for him at the high school and gave him a plaque, and he's not going away. He's still going to serve the community, but he's rotating back into the patrol division of the police department. So kudos to him for 10 years of service at Fernandina Beach High School. And last, and probably least, I participated in the Nassau Education Foundation Mystery 5K Fun Run, and that was on this past Saturday. And so here's my certificate. Notice I said I participated. Oh, wait, it gets better.
Did you run?
Notice I participated in the 5K. I ran a little, I walked a little. I ran a little, I walked a lot. I ran a little, I walked even more. And then I finished up running, and I placed first in the county commissioner division. Sometimes you win just by showing up.
True story. Noted for future.
All right. And with that, we are adjourned.